writer, I don't remember this, and that's terrible to say that I don't remember it because I paid thousands of dollars to go to a liberal arts school to learn that there's some author, James Joyce maybe, he does stream of consciousness writing, and I think that style of writing really makes sense to me. Like before the podcast, when I was talking through everything, that's how I'm thinking all the time. It's too much.
Yeah, I'm totally a stream of conscious person too, for the most part.
Don't you wish you could write as fast as you can think?
Oh. Yes. Yeah, it drives me nuts because I always have a good thought, and by the time I actually get it on paper, forget it. Especially when I'm writing a song, then it's like I'll come up with that classic lyric and how did I rhyme that again?
And so I come up with these systems to be able to handle that. So I try to tweet using Siri. Oh my gosh, that is just terrible. I can't do it. And then voice recorder. I always use voice recorder in the car because I always get tons of ideas in the car. Are you the same way?
Yes. Yeah. Again, and not only ideas, to-do lists, but actually songs. That's usually when I start thinking of a song or something like that. I'll use voice recorder, which I always dread. Oh God, if anybody ever found these,
you're not worried about them stealing your contacts or corporate email. It's the song.
No, they could have my bank account information and everything. Those songs they could absolutely blackmail me for.
So when you're writing a song, what's the creative process like? Do you start with words or is it like a lick? What are you actually putting in there?
It comes both ways, creativity comes in different ways. Sometimes it comes in a lick. So if I've got an instrument in my hand, if say I got my guitar in my hand, mm-hmm. I may be fooling around with some chords and some chord changes and progressions, and that kind of comes together, and then I'll start making something. And once I start finding a rhythm with that, I'll start thinking of the words that could go on top of it. Sometimes it comes just from words, like an older couple that we know, they're getting married in August, and they've asked me to write a song for their wedding. So I'm working on that, and that's
for their wedding. No.
Yeah. So because they saw my song that I wrote, Elizabeth, and they wanted me to do something similar for them, and that's really hard. Two older people who have both lived different lives. And both loved their other wives and husbands, and now coming together on their second marriage as widowers. That's hard, right? How do you write a song about being the love of their life and their kids are going to be in the room? And
yeah, no kidding.
That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be crazy. So yeah, creativity comes in all kinds of forms and expressions, and I think that's why innovation's so hard. Right? How do you, if you plan innovation, let's say that you want to plan innovation.
Mm-hmm. It's messier than that.
Yeah. Is that really just continual improvement, or is that truly creative, disruptive innovation?
I think you can plan brainstorming, and I think you can plan activities around innovation.
Yeah, true.
But it's serendipitous, right? You sort of have to, you have to not your whole company, but portions of it need to revolve around that. And I think that's part of being flexible, of course, but how many companies have a lab right now, right? Isn't that the new trend, the hot trend? We've got a DevOps lab. I'm going to CenturyLink. CenturyLink is famous in Minnesota for being one of the first ones. Symantec is another one. 3M's always had labs.
Yeah, innovation labs, they call them.
Innovation labs. And I think the idea is really like a sandbox, but you're not going to you cannot manufacture innovation. You can manufacture the activities around it, though. Hello?
Yeah, you can plan the activities, but you can't plan the outcome of those activities, I think.
My video looks frozen to me. Does it look frozen to you?
It is frozen to me.
You know what? I probably bumped the USB. I think if you touch it just the right way. Look, I've got redundant systems, though.
Look at you. High availability. That's actually a much better look for you.
The problem is I'm really tall.
You're really tall, but you're in good shape, too.
Oh, thanks, dude. Yoga 3 times a week. That's about it. That's all I have time for. How people fit in exercise is it's amazing to me. And really, when I think about innovation, that's one of the things that's really tough is changing habits to promote it, or change habits to. It's the same thing with just doing voice recording. You you need avenues to capture those ideas, and you need a culture that's willing to expose themselves. I mean, that isn't what I meant to say exactly, but you need a culture that's, yes, to be vulnerable, to say stupid things and not feel judged about it.
Right.
I'm writing an article right now about the psychological health of an organization, and that is so transparent to new hires. Do you know what I'm saying? That vulnerability layer, like where people put themselves at and whether they're able to trust themselves to say stupid things. I don't know. In any case, I'm going to post it in the show notes. There's a great speech. I don't even know where it's from. It was posted 4 years ago at CUSEC in 2012. It's this guy named Brett Victor at Worry Dream on Twitter, and he goes through sort of like his belief on life, and he talks about how you have to watch it. So just go watch it. Take the time to go watch it. But what's beautiful about it is that he's focused on a goal that isn't simplistic. He's got a larger vision. So in his case, he wants to be able to create and have an immediate reaction. That's his goal, basically, because that focusing on that will make his entire life easier, because he's always got ideas, and that way he can just see them come to fruition. And the realization he comes to basically is that if you're able to directly see what you're creating, then you will create things that you didn't know you were going to create. Do you know what I'm saying? So he goes through this example of a tree, and he's got a program up, and there's a tree, and he's rendering it basically with CSS, let's say.
And the build mountain, the build sky.
Yeah. He's got different calls to build different things. And he talks about how he used to have to compile it. He would draw it in the coder, and then he'd say go, and then he'd get a result. And that speed was too slow for him. So what he did is he made a app dev environment where it's live, and he can actually like type in new numbers, and the tree renders differently every millisecond. And so then he takes it one step further, and this is actually the beautiful part. He takes it and makes it a slider. So like all these values in these JavaScript forms, like 1 through 100 or 1 through 1,000 or whatever, he makes them sliders so that he can directly manipulate them in the code. And he ends up testing what it looks like on each end of the slider and lots of different options. And he ends up discovering that he can animate this tree by just manipulating some numbers. And what I'm saying is that stuff just doesn't happen.
It's feedback.
Yeah.
Right? It's a feedback loop.
Yep.
You know, if you think about it, isn't that what caused Instagram to get so popular? Is you took a picture, and instead of playing around or going in and having to tweak all these different settings, like what does saturation actually do to a picture? I have no idea. Like brightness and
it's color density.
Yeah, but yet you just take the picture and you're sliding it left to right to find out, do I like my X Pro, or do I like my, Nashville, or what are the different colors I like?
The different
old school
filters,
black and white, and it's instant feedback, right? And then you not only get your own instant creative feedback on it, you then post it, and then people like it, right?
Yeah.
And you're getting instant feedback on it, right?
Whereas Flickr, it was just like you put it up there, maybe someone will like it. There's not a lot of loop.
Right, no feedback loop. Like Snapchat, right? Look what Snapchat's focusing on right now. They clearly got to find a revenue stream somehow, right? So now they built all these different app and things. And now you can swap faces, or you can do, I guess I got in trouble for this one, but I guess you can make yourself kind of look like Prince or somebody like that. And they got kind of the black face flashback on that, I heard.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because white people trying to look like Prince made them look like they were in blackface. And African Americans didn't like that too much. But anyway,
culture is not ready for that, but it is a good idea.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like all of it lets people find ways to be creative in which they've never been creative. And then take that to what I've seen is you find people who are taking like their face and a Barbie doll face and doing face swap, or, you know, a little teddy bear.
$5 bill. I saw a Lincoln.
$5 bill. Yeah. You know, so it's when you remove barriers to allowing people to express themselves, and people don't care to look, but you know, those face swaps look terrible. I've never seen a good one. So here's an example where people are willing to openly be vulnerable, right, and expose themselves to be, you know, a little bit ugly or failure or creepy or goofy, and it was a huge hit.
Yeah, that's true, and that is pervasive in their culture too, which is why the Prince thing flies. But then they say, "Oh well, we screwed up." They pull it. They try some other thing. You know, it's that sort of I don't know, iteration, that sort of loopiness that is so sticky. It's something that we love now. We love that feedback loop. The other day, I was making an incredible coffee. I make a killer latte. If you're ever in Minnesota, come over and have some espresso with me. And I took pictures of it. And what was amazing to me is I was compelled, after taking the pictures.
Well, see, Adam Mason gives you the thumb up. He's the big coffee snob.
Oh, come now. Come over, Adam. You got it whenever you're in Minnesota. But I was compelled to post them on Amazon as part of my review, which is something like, I bought it a year ago or something like that. And I've never felt like I want that loop. It'll be interesting to see what other industries actually take advantage of that. Besides,
but how hard is it though to provide feedback though? You know, so like for instance, my son just bought me a drone, my little drone here.
What'd you get?
I got the. It's the Hawkeye 2.
Oh, nice.
With the camera. Pretty amazing, right? It's got the remote control or you can fly it by your phone.
Nice.
So the little wingy things here, right? There's A's and B's. Of course, you can't see it. It's like really, really small, embedded on the back of it. And in the instruction manual, when they're telling you to put the blades on, it doesn't tell you to put A's or B's in certain areas until you flip to the back and saying, if it takes a hard nose dive real fast when you turn it on, make sure you've got it in this sequence. So I'm looking back and I said, you know, they sent me this thing like, we want you to be happy. I feel like I'm taking Faraz place today. Or we want you to be, or if you're feeling unhappy, we want you to leave a fair product review and tell them on Amazon. I'm saying to myself, okay, do I go back on Amazon and put this feedback like, hey, first off, morons, it would be really good if you put in the instructions of assembling this thing how to do it properly instead of finding out in the troubleshooting steps after you shatter and crack your blades from taking a hard nosedive right when it launches. Or do I go to the support on their site? Like, where's the value of feedback? Because you know it's not automated. You know that if I put it on Amazon, it's not going to show up on their site. And you know if I put it on their site, it's not going to show up on Amazon because that would be bad, right? Because then people would see all these bad replies. But they should fix this issue because I can only imagine how many people are buying this thing, like myself, who I actually, for being a man, I think is a congratulations. I read the instructions.
Woo! That's a gender category, though. Don't do that stereotyping stuff.
And totally a male thing. Women read instructions and they do what they're told, and they
stereotypes
for them.
Stereotypes.
We totally want to wing it because we think we're smart enough.
Well, and I think of it even one step further. How much better would it be for you as a customer to be able to log on to GitHub and change that doc, baby?
There you go.
You know, I mean, that really, especially documentation, that companies need to figure out that you can get all the things.
Yeah.
Like there's a ton of stuff that you shouldn't put on there. Personally identifiable information, customer information, maybe your design specs and how to 3D print your products. Like, don't put that on there.
Right.
But put your docs out there, seriously, you know, and what it does is it builds a community even then. And you can actually see, well, who's contributing to our documentation? Oh, Hooper, he loves our stuff. What else is he doing? Well, he said we screwed up in this part of the feature. It is common sense to do it, but it is not commonplace to do so.
Correct. Yeah, and I don't think it's ever going to happen because knowledge management is usually run by those control freaks who think, oh, well, it needs to be edited and published and verifiable, and no, it's got to be real time. And it's got to be, you have to. It's like Waze. Waze doesn't verify that I posted a pothole. It just takes it away if 5 other people pass that pothole and don't thumbs up it.
Yeah.
It doesn't verify that I'm qualified to report a police car. It lets me report it, and then when like 6 ninjas report it, it says, yeah, this is definitely a police car up here, and it then voice auto notifies me.
Yes. Yes. But it's difficult to get there. I think the investment in systems is something that companies, they see it as overhead that they don't want, but they want the end product. Do you know what I'm saying?
Systems is the mechanism, though. It's investment in community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, valuing it.
If you're a product company and you're not thinking community, you've already failed. Yeah,
it's true. Because without people, you've got nothing.
Because think of the drones community, and think how commoditized drones have gotten.
Oof.
I guess I'm assuming this is a UK company because they have a dbpower.co.uk, but I'm thinking it's probably Hong Kong leftover because their instructions are barely legible and the grammar is terrible, and a lot of it was in Chinese. So I'm thinking, a commoditized product like this, if you don't build a community, only so far you're going to get on price, right?
Yep.
At some point, someone's going to look at this Hawkeye and say, okay, and I looked it up to see what my son thought I was worth. He spent a good $80, which I thought was pretty impressive for a college student eating ramen noodles and working at Starbucks. Would he paid $95 if he saw 5 other ratings higher? Yeah, he would have spent the other $15. He's just that type of kid.
Yep. It's true.
So community is everything if you want to stay viable.
Man, and look at the effect. Hooper obviously loves it, except for the nosedive thing. So is the camera on a gimbal?
No, it doesn't rotate.
It's a fixed camera. Is it forward facing or downward facing?
It's forward facing.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's a good idea. I've had the iPad Pro for a while and I borrowed it to someone, and he's had it for a month. And I haven't even I don't even miss it at all.
Really?
At all. I'm drawing on paper. I don't need an iPad to do that. I don't need to digitize my art anymore because we pay someone to do that now instead of me doing it.
Yeah, I liked so we had the iPad Pros at HDI, and I did like the screen size.
Did you use the pencil?
No, I didn't. Is there an embedded pencil?
There isn't an embedded pencil. You have to purchase. This is Apple, baby.
Oh, of course.
You have to purchase it for the low price of whatever.
$49.95.
The pencil's a game changer because it's pressure sensitive.
Just refurb 3Com styluses from 1994.
No, they're better than that. It's got 2,000 levels, or I think it might be less, maybe 1,000 levels of pressure that it can sense. And so when you press harder, it does it, and then it also does. What do I want to say? Positioning.
Shift. Yeah.
It can tell if you're which direction the pencil is pointing. Do you know what I'm saying? So you can do brush work with it, which is really nice if you're trying to digitize your brush work. Then it makes sense. And then the keyboard is a game changer. The keyboard feels so good to type on. Mwah. And no battery on the keyboard too. But anyway, I'm not using it. And so I said, well, I'm going to sell it. I'm going to get a DJI Phantom, the quadcopter that they have now, the new DJI. It does obstacle avoidance, which is beautiful for anyone that's flown a copter knows that's the number one thing looking out for. Is crashing, so it won't hit anything. That feature in and of itself sells it, and then it actually does video tracking too. So you're on your iPad or iPhone or whatever, and you're flying it, and you look at the camera, and you see something on it. You press on that something and it will fix the video on it, and it'll follow it if it moves. So you can press on a person and it'll follow, the drone and the camera will follow that person automatically and not run into anything. It is the quintessential case for a consumer drone, basically.
And you know what's funny is you just think about that leveraged into ITSM. Collision detection, right?
Yep.
How much do we stink at detecting conflicts in a change in collisions?
We're getting better.
You're still terrible. They've mastered that in drones and aerial flight systems in only, what, a year and a half, 2 years since these things kind of got popular.
Yeah, but they're visual. I mean, you don't run into walls, but you know.
It's even easier. It's digital. Everything goes into a schedule. You're doing an activity. It tracks you. It tracks you and follows you. How hard is it for us to even run a data report for governance and figure out who changed what? Still, we're pathetic, right?
Our data has always been bad. It will always be bad too.
And it's amazing to me, the technology when it comes to these little drones, the gravity sensors, self-flying. Why is it that we can have these little drones have more artificial intelligence than our probably most critical systems that govern our activities and flow of our business users and the security and the data that they manage?
You know why, Hooper?
Because they're cool.
No. Well, yes. Because it's direct to revenue. Technology revenue in drones. Technology revenue. In the enterprise space, they're like, technology, step 2 is like question mark, step 3, profit. So the underpants gnomes were right the entire time.
That's why I guess companies like Netflix and Uber and those who recognize the direct correlation between their technology and their revenue are just so accelerating.
Correct. Yes. Tweet that. The shorter the distance between technology and revenue, the more lucrative you are right now. At least that's the way it feels. I don't know. We'll see.
Faster you operate, the more market you'll take. Bigger your business will be.
Man, well, I hope the weather is as good in Florida as it is in Minnesota. It is gorgeous here. I hope wherever you are, when you're listening and watching this, that you are enjoying the beautiful summer weather. Or, you know, if you're in the southern hemisphere, winter weather, it's fun too. And we'll see you again next week on Hacking Business Technology.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.